I was getting into that. Hey, good morning. It is a pop-up on my computer. Get out of here, you stupid pop-up. They timed those. It's 7:30 on what is today? Tuesday. It's 7:30 on a Tuesday. You're alive with Preston. Hey, here's the question of the week. I get to them every Friday. Hang on a second. What the heck? One moment. This stupid hair in my face. Hey, I get to them every Friday. The question this week is, do you believe in curses? What do you think? Yes or no? Maybe even explain. Think about that. Maybe you go, I don't know, I've heard of a curse. I don't know if I actually believe in it. Maybe you've never thought about it. Doesn't matter. That's the point. On this show and with me, I like to contemplate and think things through for myself and invite you to do the same thing. Did you know that people aren't actually mad at you? You might be walking around today thinking, man, I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I need to work on apologizing and taking responsibility. And that's true. Taking personal responsibility is extremely important. It's the only way that a society works is if individuals take personal responsibility. Unfortunately, the enemy knows this. So he tries to get us to take on more than is our responsibility. Take more responsibility than actually belongs to us. That's the point I'm trying to make. People aren't actually mad at you, though, and I will explain. 99.999% of a person's problems come from themselves. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And on a side note, every problem that you have stems from unforgiveness and resentment. But that's a topic for another show. Most people are walking around. They're looking at things on surface level. They're taking people at face value, which is a good trait. We shouldn't assume. We should take people at their word. But we should be able to understand what's really going on in the heart and the mind of an individual. Think of yourself. You got problems you're dealing with on the inside. You got insecurities and struggles and fears and doubts that you're dealing with. Well, if it's that way in you and you are on your way to knowing the truth, not just believing the truth, if you are overcoming delusion, but you still have that battle inside of you, just think of how much worse it is for the person who hasn't even realized that there is a battle to fight. If it's happening in you, it's happening in other people 5 times as bad. Yes, that's exactly the measurement, 5 times. Listen, people are just waiting for you to screw up. They are. People are observant when it comes to other folks. They're not very observant. Now, when I say people, I mean everybody who hasn't begun to step out of that unconscious mindset, living only in their thoughts. Those of us, like I said before, who are moving away from simply believing the truth towards knowing it, those of us who realize that we are born into a delusional world, this was us too. I'm not judging anybody. Listen, people are waiting for you to screw up. They're doing that because they want to cover their butt because they don't want to look foolish. They don't want to look stupid. They're waiting for you to do something so that all the doubt and fear that they have inside, they can dump onto you and they can blame you for it. Alcoholics do this all the time. If their life is going too well, they will sabotage it. They will set something up. They'll make it like, you know what? My life is going well. I don't have a reason to drink. Then they'll start going through their phone and they'll look at their call history and they'll see that you haven't called them in a week. So then they'll get depressed about that. They'll open up a beer or whatever their drug of choice. They'll get high, they'll get drunk, and then they'll call you and say, you haven't called me. You don't care about me. And in their mind, they really think you don't care. And so they get drunk and they call you and they harass you and they control you with guilt. And you go, yeah, you know what? If only I would have picked up the phone and called them, they wouldn't be drunk right now. But that's a lie. That is a lie. People are just waiting for you to screw up. The only time it's your fault is when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Did you realize that? The only thing that you have to apologize for in other people, with dealing with other people, is when you say, for instance, I'm going to call you on Tuesday. I'll call you. And then you don't call. You're the one that set the precedent, and then you didn't follow through. That is the only time you need to apologize to another human being. Think about that. Even in your marriage, if you didn't tell your spouse that you were going to do something and then not do it, you really wouldn't need to apologize. Any other time in a marriage that your spouse is going off on you, you didn't do this, you never help with the laundry, whatever it is, whatever the complaint is, you should realize, unless you said you would help with the laundry and then didn't do it, whatever your spouse is mad about doesn't actually concern you. It's not your fault. It's something else going on inside of them. Resist the urge to take things personally. It's not all about us. So many times we want to make things all about us on both sides of the coin. Either we're super important or we're super horrible, in which case we think we're just important. We think that because we didn't call our alcoholic friend, they're suffering from alcoholism. We think that because we didn't do what our spouse demands of us, our spouse is justified in their anger towards us. It's a trap. It's an ego trap to get you thinking that you are the most important person, that you are the center of the universe. Remember the movie Truman Show, where Jim Carrey played an unsuspecting reality show star, and everybody was in on the gag except him, and he starts to realize anything I do, people react to. He walks out in the middle of traffic and he puts his hands up and the cars just stop. They won't even hit him. And then he starts to realize maybe I'm a god. I don't know. But he doesn't take the bait. He doesn't let his ego get in the way. He searches for the truth. And that's what I'm talking about this morning. We got to resist the urge. It's a chemical reaction in our head that our enemy employs, utilizes, exploits to control us and manipulate us. Other people controlled by the enemy are manipulating and controlling you. It's a trained practice. It's a trained behavior that we can equip ourselves with and learn how to do. And that is resist the urge to take things personally. And this is how you do it. It's so simple. Write this down. Just practice listening. Just listen. Listen when somebody's all pissed off. If you listen, I guarantee you'll see the truth for what it is. You'll hear it. You'll hear the person say what the problem really is. But we are so accustomed to, when somebody yells at us, chemical reaction in our head, boom, we react. We're emotional. This is a trait that we can learn, just like soldiers learn to react, just like a professional fighter learns to not react, but to respond. Actually, it's the opposite. A professional trainer practices and practices and practices so much that they don't even have to think about what they're going to do. I'm a musician. If I pick up a guitar and I begin to play in a band and I go into a guitar solo, I have practiced and practiced and practiced so much, I don't have to think about what I'm doing. It's all muscle memory. It just starts happening. So it is possible, if we practice listening, that we will overcome the natural urge to overreact. We got to do that. You practice listening. You will begin to realize that 99.999% of your problems, people that you're pissed off at, are actually you. The fake you, not even the real you. And what is the fake you? The fake you is the thoughts. Anybody that's living from the mind instead of the soul is not the real them. They're being controlled. Thoughts come in and out. Thoughts come from other people, situations, evil spirits, things that we don't know, things not of this world. And if you're not a religious person and you don't want me to say Satan, fine. Fine. That comes from spiritual things. The definition of the word spiritual, things that aren't physical, the non-physical part of a human being. You have that. You have the non-physical part of you, and so do other people. And anybody who's living in the thoughts, you're living from a dangerous place. That's the enemy's playground. That's where he comes in. And a spirit, an evil spirit, a spirit of evil, it's made a home in you. It makes a home in all of us when we're born. When we believe into thoughts, these things come into our lives. They get deep down rooted. They put thoughts in our mind. And before you know it, you begin to identify from your thoughts. You think, well, yeah, I had that thought, or that's my idea. No, it's not. You don't create thoughts. You don't create ideas. Things get placed in front of you, and you as a servant can either do those things or not do those things. And if you are of the world, then your thoughts and your motives and the things you do come from the world. And if you're of God, then they come from the kingdom of heaven within you, God within you, the Holy Spirit within you. Think about that. A spirit that has made a home in your body. This is what you do. It's enough to see it. When the Lord shows you, hey, you're just believing thoughts. That's not the real you. All you got to do is see it for what it is. Don't judge it as good or evil. Don't curse it. Oh, that's horrible. Just see it and never justify it. And the Bible talks about this. There's a whole scripture in there talking about people who don't know what they're doing. I believe it's in Peter. You can check this out, or 1st or 2nd John, but I think it's Peter, where Peter's talking to a bunch of church people, and they're all like, oh, we're casting out demons, and we're telling demons to be cursed and go to hell and all this other stuff. And Peter's like, you can't say those things. Not even the archangel Michael, when confronting Satan, cursed Satan. The archangel Michael, who knows God personally, said, God curse you. God rebuke you, is actually what some translations say. God rebuke you. Not Michael rebuke you. So when you walk around thinking that you're going to do some kind of spiritual power, spiritual warfare with these demons, you have no power to do that. This thing that's made a home in most people, it's a creation from God. God created it. God is the judge of it. So when God reveals to us, hey, you know what? You're not of yourself. You're controlled by an evil spirit within you. Never judge it, ever. Never justify it. Because if you justify it, you're screwed. Anyways, problems going on, it's not you. The only time a person has a problem with you is if you tell them one thing and then do another. Then they have a problem with you. And you should apologize and make that right. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't make promises that you can't deliver on, because then it is your fault. But if you never make a promise to somebody, you don't have anything to apologize for, and you can't be whipped around by guilty feelings. And people want to control other people with their anger outbursts. And they want to blame everybody else. And they'll say, well, you did this, you did that. And what they're saying might sound true, but the bottom line is, deep down inside, it's really an insecurity within them. It's not you. And the same goes for you. It's not you that's pissed off at everybody else. It's you knowing that you screwed up and you're just waiting for somebody to give you an out. I see it all the time. Forget to pay a bill. I've done this. I've done it. And the Lord showed it to me. It is so simple. And everybody thinks, oh, Satan's got to be this big horned beast with fire and hooves and a pitchfork. It's not. Satan, I don't even know what he looks like, but I know how he acts. This happened to me one time. I was going to pay a bill, but I didn't pay it. I had to pay a late fee, a penalty. And the reason I didn't pay the bill is because I procrastinated. Then when I went in to pay the bill, the internet was out, because I was going to pay the bill online. The internet was out, and it was during summertime. And guess who was home? My children, teenagers, all on their computers, all playing games, all watching TikTok, all doing stupid crap, using up my internet. So I came out of my room and I started yelling at all my kids. Y'all are on the damn internet, blah, 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 blah. But the real issue, I procrastinated and didn't pay the bill on time. Fault was me, not the kids. Think about that. Think about it this week. This has been Done Believing. Moving away from simply believing the truth, straight towards knowing the truth. All for the purpose of overcoming our own delusions. It will make the world a better place if we can just overcome our own delusions. Get yourself fixed first. Then you can be a light unto a lost world. Have a great one. See you back 7:30 tomorrow, probably most weekdays.